Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Tuesday. It's going up for the next 3 hours on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our streaming video channels, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, WIBW News on Facebook. However, wherever, whenever you're tuning into the program today, thanks so much for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuy will be along in the 4 o'clock hour. Brendan Dworzinski is off today. Plenty to get to over the course of the next 3 hours, including the Chiefs' #1 wide receiver getting thrown in jail. Look, I'm pretty good about not saying something on these airwaves, a word on these airwaves is going to get me in trouble, get me fined, get me in some real FCC trouble. But it is going to take everything in my power to not finish the sentence, Rashee Rice, you are dumb as, without an expletive. Very, very hard. In case you have missed that breaking news within the last hour and a half, Rashee Rice is in jail right now, in jail. And he's going to be in jail for the next month, which means no OTAs, no mandatory minicamp, prison blues, and bread and water for the #1 wide receiver on the depth chart for the Kansas City Chiefs. So, yeah, I've got some thoughts. We're going to get there on the program today. We're going to talk some baseball as well. Royals lose a dud last night. Starting pitching has bounced back for the Royals. That's good. The bad news is that has happened just in time for the offense to completely die again, except for Jack Caglione. He had himself a nice night. And his reward, he gets to play against the left-handed starter tonight. It is a very different lineup tonight, in fact, for the Kansas City Royals as they prepare for Game 2 of their 3-game series against the Boston Red Sox after last night's 3-1 loss. Game 2 tonight at its regularly scheduled 6:40 p.m. start time. We'll have it for you right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. Pre-game coverage coming up at 6 o'clock. We're with you until then, conveniently enough. But not only will we discuss the lineup changes, we'll also take a look at one of the reasons that the Royals have struggled with runners in scoring position, and why, after not being loath to criticize the Royals' hitting coaching staff, particularly director of hitting Alex Zumwalt, I do think there is something to be said for this team has an approach problem. And an approach problem at the plate absolutely lands on the doorstep of your director of hitting. So, and we're going to get into that a little bit later on in the show today. Got a guest lineup. We actually have 2 guests lined up today. Michael Swain is the guest you're familiar with. He's with us every Tuesday at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour for Jayhawk Weekly. Another win on the recruiting trail for KU football, and some fascinating comments and quotes from Bill Self today. If you have not seen it, friend of the program, best college basketball writer in America, CJ Moore, sat down with Bill Self and talked about the things that went into the decision for Bill Self to return and coach the Kansas Jayhawks for the 2026-27 season. So there's some really interesting stuff there. We'll get Michael's perspective on that. We'll get a little bit more into the meat and potatoes of that article. Want to, of course, urge everyone to go read CJ's stuff at The Athletic. But we'll get into all of that, all things Jayhawks with Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. That's coming up at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. Later on this hour, in the bottom of this hour, we're going to hear from Angel Griego. She is the race director of the Fiesta Topeka 5K run and walk. It's the longest running, no pun intended, 5K in Topeka. And it's coming up. It's coming up in July as part of the Fiesta Topeka celebrations. And Angel Griego joined me today to discuss how to register, the history of the event, and a little bit more. So looking forward to playing that conversation for you. That is coming up later on this hour, and we'll direct you folks how you can get registered for the Fiesta Topeka 5K run walk this year. Run/walk. That looks fine in print. It's hard to pronounce the slash. You have to actually say it. It's kind of clunky. But you guys get the idea. The Fiesta Topeka 5K coming up this summer here in the capital city. And we'll tell you all about it with the race director, Angel Griego, coming up later on this hour. Plus, we'll have all of our typical Tuesday shenanigans on the program. We got a lot of sports talk headlines, including the basketball tournament coming here to Topeka. Frank Mason and Michael Beasley are going to play at Lee Arena. That's happening. We'll tell you all about that in case you missed that news from earlier today. Big 12 Baseball Awards, playoff roundup, a Spygate story from across the pond that is pretty incredible, and a whole lot more coming up in headlines. We'll do Random Question Tuesday. We got another round of What Is Wrong With You. That's all coming up on the show today. And, of course, we want to hear from you. The text line is wide open, 785-272-9429, 785-272-9429 is the number. You can also interact in the live chat on our YouTube channel. We are live on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. We have gone up over 970 subscribers. We are 28 subscribers shy of 1,000, which means we really need to think about what we're going to do for 1,000 subscribers. You guys are putting some pressure on us, and we love that. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. Again, the name is 580 Sports Talk. And if you're watching the show live on YouTube today, why not hop in that live chat, whether on your browser or whatever mobile device you are watching the show on, and interact with your fellow listeners. Be a part of the show in that fashion. Again, the name of the YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk. I see Christopher, Paul, Andrew, Vance, Mark H. in the chat today. Appreciate seeing you guys. Look forward to hearing from you and more of you folks who join the live chat. Always welcome in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Great way to not only interact with the show, but also interact with your fellow listeners and grow the 580 Sports Talk community. It's been a really cool thing to have seen. All right. Here's the news portion of what we have learned today. At this hour, Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice is sitting in a jail cell in Dallas County, Texas. And he's going to be there for the next 30 days because he flunked a drug test, tested positive for THC. So he was, we can assume, indulging in some marijuana. That is a violation of Rice's probation, which was part of him pleading guilty to the charges of felony collision involving serious bodily injury and racing on a highway causing bodily injury for his role in a multi-car crash on a highway in Dallas back in May of 2024. He avoided jail time at the time, but any violation of his probation would carry with it a 30-day jail sentence. Presumably, Rashee Rice was made aware of this by his legal representation. Presumably, he has been made aware of this probably repeatedly by his parole or probation officer. And he chose to do something that violated his probation anyway, which led to him today being taken straight to jail, where he will spend the next 30 days. His release date is June 16th. Chiefs OTAs are in 9 days. Mandatory minicamp is, I believe, June 9th through the 11th. So the number one wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs is going to miss OTAs, and he's going to miss mandatory minicamp because he's going to be in jail. A little hypothetical I want to throw out to you. Let's say it's a contract year, and you can dictate with several factors how much money you are going to make for the next handful of years of your life. That'd be a pretty important period of time in your life, right? The contract year. It's not typically how it works out for most of us, right? Most of us are salaried. If we are, employees, some of us are hourly. Some of us, you own your own business. If you own your own business, you're not really on a contract basis. Not many of us work on the sort of contractual basis that a professional athlete works under. But imagine that stipulation. Your performance and your behavior over the next year of your life dictates how much money you're going to make, how long you're going to make that amount of money for. And it's the difference between potentially generational wealth or maybe, nothing. You might be inclined in that instance to walk a pretty straight and narrow path. Wouldn't you not? I certainly would be. That is the scenario that Rashee Rice finds himself in. It is a contract year for Rashee Rice. It's the fourth year of his NFL career, and he was a non-first-round pick. So his rookie deal, his 4-year rookie deal expires at the end of this season. And Rashee Rice, lest we forget, has already dodged one pretty significant bullet this offseason, with the NFL declining to further investigate the allegations of abuse from the mother of his children. NFL looked into it, didn't find anything suspendable or actionable for now, and they've decided to drop the matter. So that was no longer hanging over Rashee Rice's head as the new league year began, and the opportunity exists for Rashee Rice show up, ball out, and make some money, whether it's from the Chiefs or somebody else, in free agency in 2027. That's all he had to do. All Rashee Rice had to do, show up to OTAs, show up to minicamp, show up to training camp, play well, stay healthy, put up number one wide receiver numbers in an offense quarterback by the best quarterback of his generation, and not get his dumbass thrown in jail. And he was going to make the kind of money that you or I or anyone we know has dreamed of making our entire lives. It was right there. All Rashee Rice had to do was nothing. All he had to do was not this, not violate his probation, not get thrown into county lockup. And I'm mad about that on his behalf, because how stupid can you be? It is not new news that the Kansas City Chiefs, over the course of, let's shrink the window to just the Andy Reid era for the sake of brevity. It is not new news that the Chiefs have employed some scoundrels, some not very nice guys you wouldn't want to bring home to mother, right? They've employed a lot of guys like that. Probably a larger percentage of guys like that. They've been more willing to take on those kinds of personalities than your average NFL team. That is not to say, that is much different from saying that they are the only team that has employed or would employ scoundrels, for the sake of using a catch-all term here, to describe guys like Willie Gay, got a 6-game suspension for domestic abuse. Frank Clark did something untoward to a woman he was in a relationship with while he was at the University of Michigan, and has, let's just say, not covered himself in glory when dealing with women, both personally and professionally, over the course of his life. Tyreek Hill. Enough said. The Chiefs have employed their share of scoundrels, and it is also not particularly new news that Rashee Rice is one of them. There is, of course, the aforementioned street racing incident, and the crash that ensued, and the suspension that ensued, and the investigation he found himself under due to those allegations did appear to be pretty substantiated by photographic evidence. And the whispers that have turned to shouts over time about some unpleasantness he got up to during his time at SMU in college. But for all the other verifiably not real good guys the Chiefs have rostered in this era, how many of them got thrown in jail? None. Only this dumbass. And he's not house arrest. This fool is in county lockup. They took him straight to real jail. 3 hots in a cot, brother, and some prison blues or orange or whatever they wear in Dallas County, Texas jail. They took this man to jail a week and a half out of OTAs. This is the time where if you are, never mind being in a contract year, if you are a professional, like work starts, summer vacation, such as it is, spring vacation really for a football player, it's over. You got 9 days until OTAs. 9 days until you're back at the team facilities. You're working out with the guys. You're catching passes from Patrick Mahomes. Do you know how many wide receivers in the history of this game would have given an arm and a leg or maybe another appendage to have been Patrick Mahomes' number 1 receiver? That is the privilege which the football gods have bestowed upon Rashee Rice. And this is what he does with it? It was already the longest of possible long shots that Rashee Rice was going to be a Kansas City Chief in 2027 or beyond. When you combine the injury history with the off-the-field history, it was all leading up to a very simple conclusion. We can't count on him. That is the calculation. That is the conclusion that I think the Chiefs had probably already arrived at before Andy Reid got a phone call today from, I wonder who got called first. I wonder if it was it Clark Hunt got the call first? Was it Brett Veach who got the call first? Who would you think Rashee Rice's one phone call was? In jail. Who do you think his first phone call was? He calls mama? He calls kleptomaniac mama? Did he call his agent? Who do you think he called? And then who called who? And then who was the first to know from the Kansas City Chiefs? That's what I want to know. Who do you think was first to know? You think it was Veach? Or you think it was somebody who was like head of security for the team or somebody like that? Who was the first important person? No disrespect to the Chiefs head of security or whatever, to hear. Like Reed, Veach, Mark Donovan, Clark Hunt. Who do you think was the first important Chiefs personnel person to hear this news? Hey, you know how you got OTAs in 9 days? You know how you're hoping for a big year in a contract year? Contract year's undefeated. We've seen that in Chiefs history, haven't we? Remember D Ford's contract year? Damn near got the Chiefs to a Super Bowl because he was unblockable for a year. Contract year's undefeated. Unless you're Rashee Rice. Hey, remember, you had OTAs in 9 days, right? Which of your wide receivers are you expecting to see there? And before you say Rashee Rice, I have some news. He's in jail. He'll be in jail for the next 30 days. He's going to miss OTAs. He's going to miss mandatory minicamp. I don't think they let you out of lockup for mandatory minicamp. It was mandatory, your 30-day jail sentence because you couldn't stay off the weed while you're on probation for doing something else stupid. And all you had to do was keep your nose clean if you're Rashee Rice. All you had to do was nothing. That was all you had to do. Show up, play football. Because there's no world where your number 1 wide receiver under Patrick Mahomes isn't going to put up some numbers. And you're going to hit free agency with those numbers. And there's going to be some team out there. You think the Chiefs wide receiver room is in bad shape. You look around the league. There are a lot of teams whose wide receiver rooms are in pretty sad, sorry shape. Chiefs don't even have the worst wide receiver room in the AFC West right now. But the Chiefs, certainly, they know enough to know by now. They knew enough to know even before today. Yeah, we're not casting our lot with this guy. That's not happening. We can't trust this guy farther than we can throw him. But if somebody else wants to give him money, they could be our guest. Somebody would have done it. What is the lesson? And it's not just the Chiefs who teach us this lesson. This is a professional sports lesson. If you are talented enough, there will be somebody who will look past all of your peccadillos, all of your failings, all of your missteps. They will bring you in. They think you can help them win games. That is always the calculation that somebody is going to make. It couldn't possibly have been the Chiefs. Not after everything before today that we already knew regarding Rashee Rice. It could not have been them. It was likely not going to be them. And now Rashee Rice is ensured that it's not going to be anybody. Because why in God's name would you give any kind of contract to the kind of idiot who would get himself thrown in jail less than 10 days before OTAs? For smoking weed, something you don't need to do. That's not necessary. How hard is it to not violate probation? I got to imagine that's easy. Oh, there's a list of things that I can't do. Otherwise, they're going to throw me in jail. Guess I won't do those things. How easy is that? How easy should that be for anybody with more than one brain cell? How easy is that? That's all he had to do. That's all Rashee Rice had to do. There's generational wealth on the other side. Maybe not from the Chiefs. Maybe only a one-year prove-it deal from somebody. But then, okay, walk the straight and narrow for one more year and ball out. And then you get your multi-year contract from somebody. It was right there. All you had to do was walk through the series of doors that every other professional football player walks through and not walk through the door of a jail cell. That was it. Instead, the Chiefs will start OTAs with their number one wide receiver in jail. And this team that refuses to have a normal offseason, and it is a lot their fault. Hey, these are the kind of guys they draft. These are the kind of red flags that the Chiefs ignore more than the average team does. Chiefs can kind of look in the mirror on this one a little bit. But they're going into this offseason. They're trying to turn around and get back to Super Bowl glory. And OTAs are about to start. And the big question for OTAs was going to be a positive one. It was going to be Patrick Mahomes is back on the field. Look at that. There's 15. He's maybe not doing 100% of the workout. He's maybe not 100% physically yet. Man, he's out there. He's throwing the rock. He's smiling. He's getting along with his wide receivers. And with Patrick Mahomes back, the Chiefs are back. That was going to be the storyline. Now it's, hey, Patrick, your number one wide receiver's in county jail. What's that like? 785-272-9429 is the text line. You can also interact in the live chat on YouTube. We'll get your reaction next. We got a lot more to talk about in the show today. We'll get to some Royals. Michael Swain, Fog.net, bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. This is the Tuesday on 580 Sports Talk. Congratulations on not being in jail. You're all smarter than Rashee Rice. 580 WIBW. 3:32 on 580 Sports Talk. So Rashee Rice is in jail. Going to be there for the next 30 days. Violated his probation for smoking marijuana, which I understand. Like there are places where that's legal. Kansas, not one of them. I'm not here to debate the merits of whether or not that should be legal. It's not for me one way or another, whether it's legal or not. If it's for you, great. I'm not here to judge. But list of things you can't do while you're on probation, things that your probation officer makes very clear to you, and it does not matter if you are in a state where it's legal or what. Can't do it. You can't do it. Really, really, really easy not to do what Rashee Rice did. Was that worth what he may have cost himself? I guess only he knows. But he's got 30 days to think about it. 30 days of no football while his teammates are out getting ready for the new season. 30 days, no football to think about it while Patrick Mahomes is out there on a knee that's 6 months removed from major surgery. And he'll be out there working out with his teammates. Here's the crazy thing, though. Like, I don't think the Chiefs can afford to cut him. Like, that's the cathartic thing right now, isn't it? Here's a text from 785. Chiefs need to move on from Rashee Rice and let him deal with this on his own because he hasn't learned anything from his actions. Big picture, yes. Agreed. 100%. He has not learned anything from his actions. And being an NFL player doesn't feel like a privilege that Rashee Rice has earned as a person. That is an important caveat. Because you know what Rashee Rice can still do? Catch that football. Get open. Move those sticks. And the Chiefs do not have and cannot afford anybody who's going to do that for them better than Rashee Rice can. Like, I guess they could go trade a first-round pick for A.J. Brown. Like, maybe they call the Eagles, like, hey, all of a sudden, we're in the A.J. Brown business, baby. What's it going to take? Call Howie Roseman, see what it's going to take. I guess they can make that phone call. But, like, they can't afford Stephon Diggs in all likelihood. I don't think that's a deal they can make. A lot of talk about Tyreek Hill. How sure are we he's going to play week one? How sure are we he's going to play at all? Like, there's all this about Tyreek Hill. We have no idea physically where he's at. If he's ready or going to be ready to play football. And then, what kind of message do you send? Yeah, Rashee Rice, your behavior is unacceptable. We're going to run it back with Tyreek Hill. Can you really do that? Can you really credibly with a straight face do that? So, like, the Chiefs are stuck because they're going to be any kind of good. They're not getting there with a wide receiver room where all of a sudden Jalen Royals, who caught all of 2 passes as a rookie, is wide receiver number 3. What are you gonna go do if you're the Chiefs? Like, Diggs is out of their price range in all likelihood. You go get the corpse of Deebo Samuel. I think Braxton Berrios is still a free agent. You going to call him? No easy answers. I really don't think they're going to cut him. I think they're going to grin and bear it through gritted teeth. You know, Andy Reid is well practiced saying all the right things about knuckleheads on his roster. They'll welcome him back. He'll go through training camp. He'll play. And then that'll be that. Like, he's not getting that second contract. I already didn't think it was going to happen. We have already kind of talked this whole offseason like long-term Rashee Rice was not in the Chiefs' plans, and now he's definitely not in the Chiefs' plans. 100% not in the Chiefs' plans. Some thoughts from the YouTube chat. Paul says it's as easy to not violate your probation as it is to do anything. It is 100 times easier, in fact, not to do things. That is real talk. Cancel dinner plans. Don't go to the movie. Mow the lawn tomorrow. I love putting things on. I love canceling plans. Canceling plans lives. Because it is. It's so easy. So easy. That's all it had to be. That's all. That was the bar Rashee Rice had to clear. Go home, play PS5 or Xbox, whatever you got. Play that all spring. Let somebody else drive. Call Uber to take you where you want to go. And don't violate your probation. Which, again, this can't have been a surprise. He knew what he couldn't do. And he did it anyway. He's in jail. Real jail. They're not 30 days of house arrest. Throw him in county jail immediately. Do not pass go. And that's the Chiefs' number one wide receiver. Just absolutely, completely, utterly brain dead stuff. And I don't know why I'm so mad on his behalf. Because, hey, look, that was his choice. He has made the choices that he has made in his life. When any different choice could have led to this upcoming March, Rashee Rice becoming wealthy beyond his wildest imagination. And he may still yet, with a good season, because I think, like I said, I don't think the Chiefs can afford to cut him. Like, being real pragmatic about this, which I think the Chiefs have to do. The goal is to win the AFC West, get back to the playoffs, go win a Super Bowl. That's always the goal when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, no matter who the other 52 guys are. You're not getting there with a wide receiver room highlighted by Xavier Worthy. You're not. Rice is still, for all of his personal foibles, and Lord knows they are mounting, he is still a guy who can contribute at a number one wide receiver level. And the Chiefs have known this. They have felt this. They have been willing to put up with this since the day they drafted him. So while I understand, like, the compulsion to say, God, I'm tired of dealing with this guy, but what makes you think that the Chiefs are going to make the same calculation? There's nothing in their history that suggests they're going to decide, you know what, we're putting our foot down on this one. They don't put their foot down on guys who are good. And Rashee Rice is good. He's very good. And a year removed from the ACL, he should be better than he was last year. He should be closer to his rookie season production. And that's what the Chiefs need from him. And that production would have made him a lot of money. Even if not from the Chiefs, it would have made him a lot of money from somebody. But it will be impossible not to look at him and see not a set of numbers, not a number of catches, not a number of touchdowns, not a total yardage, not a success rate. You will be looking at him as the leader, the number one wide receiver for the can't get right All-Stars. Tyler says, call me when he misses a game. The 6 he missed last year for getting suspended for being a knucklehead before. I'm sorry. I must have misplaced your number and forgotten to call you before he missed 6 for getting suspended the first time. Now, if you're talking about this year, you're probably right. Like I said, I agree that this year he's going to be out there. Chiefs don't have any other choice. But big picture, how is any team going to look at this guy and say, yeah, you're trustworthy. You are worth an investment. You are worth a significant financial investment. Text from the 785 asked if it was possible that Rice could be suspended once he gets out of jail. I don't know that the NFL is going to pop Rice for, I guess he's got a positive test for drugs. I guess the NFL could do something there. I don't have a great answer for that question just yet. That's certainly something that I think you have to consider as a possibility. But the biggest thing is, like, this is an opportunity. Everything since the 6-game suspension has been an opportunity to prove your trust, to restore the faith in a team of guys who were wearing T-shirts last year during his suspension that said free 4. Remember those? Free 4. Free Rashee Rice. Anybody want to wear those today? Any of you buy one? Any of y'all buy one? You going to wear that today? Free Rashee, my man did nothing wrong. Absolute knucklehead. All right, hard pivot after this timeout. Next month, June 27th, the Fiesta Topeka 5K Run Walk is coming to the capital city. As the tradition continues since 1977, it is the longest running 5K run/walk in Topeka. And I've got race director Angel Griego on to speak about it when we return from this timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. We are pleased to be joined this afternoon on 580 Sports Talk by Angel Griego. She is the race director for the Fiesta Topeka 5K, and that's coming up. Fiesta Topeka, of course, coming up this summer. One of the great traditions we have here in the capital city of Kansas, and the Fiesta Topeka 5K is a big part of that. And not only is it part of Fiesta Topeka, it's also the longest running 5K run walk in the capital city. And Angel, let's start there. How long have you been involved with the Fiesta Topeka 5K?
Well, my level of involvement is because my father started the race in 1977. So back then I was holding a stopwatch to time the first 12 runners to come across the finish line. We have since grown in leaps and bounds. My involvement has been just off and on throughout the years, and most recently, the last 4 years, taking it over. And our numbers last year were at 455 participants. So that's a huge increase from 12 members starting in 1977.
Most certainly. Tell me a little bit more, if you can, about what made your dad decide to start the 5K.
So my father had a heart condition growing up all his life, and he could never participate in sports, but he always saw the need for health and well-being. And he wanted to create this for the community because this was what was coming up in the 70s, was 5Ks and run walks and just everything like that, just being healthy.
Is that remain a focus of this event? The focus on, yes, there's a competitive element. There always is to these events, but that idea that anyone can sign up and that it's something that is promoting health, wellness, things like that to the community as part of Fiesta Topeka.
Yes, anyone can sign up because now we want community involvement. We want everybody to be able to participate. We have our children that are 10 and under that can be free. And then we even offer master awards for people 70 plus. So we do have quite a few in that category that are also eligible to win a prize as well.
What is the range of age, or the age range rather, of your participants? Do you remember roughly what that's been over the years?
We have the majorities are in their 20s and 30s, but I tell you, our 50s and 60s and 70s group gives them a run for the money because it somewhat equals out sometimes.
No, I can certainly imagine that. We are.
Yeah, our competitive level is the 20s and 30s, but the older group, I do it for fun, exercise. They get their grandkids out there because it's a free event for children 10 and under.
Angel Griego is the race director of the Fiesta Topeka 5K Run Walk, again coming up June 27th as part of the annual Fiesta Topeka celebration. How has the event over the years come to be synonymous with Fiesta Topeka? Of course, Fiesta Mexicana for many years now, Fiesta Topeka. And in what ways does the Run Walk sort of enhance the overall Fiesta Topeka experience, at least from your view?
The community involvement, keeping it in the Oakland area is huge. Just having the neighborhood be prepared. We send out letters to every house on the course so they can watch from their front porch and join us in coffee. We even have people who volunteer to hand out water to our participants along the way, or if it's extremely hot, because this is usually June, July, they'll run their water hose out there on them to kind of cool them down along the course.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, we're looking late June for this race. I bet a blast of hose water maybe feels really good on some of those race days that you've had. That leads me to another question for people who maybe they don't want to get out on the course. Maybe that's not their style. Maybe they're a little hesitant to get involved with the running and the walking itself, but they want to be involved with the community aspect of it. They want to maybe volunteer or help to grow this event. What are some ways that some people can do that?
They can reach me through the Fiesta Topeka website, and I would definitely take volunteers. We have to have, on average, about 70 to 80 volunteers throughout that day, just that short morning period, whether it's serving breakfast or food to the participants, beverages, having people who are our road marshals, helping to guide traffic. So volunteers are always needed.
Angel Griego is the race director of the Fiesta Topeka 5K Run Walk. All right, run us through one more time, Angel, if you can. How do people get registered for this event? Because there is a sign up, there is an entry fee, but what is the entry fee? Get the runner and or walker, as the case may be, and where can people get signed up to take part?
You can go to runsignup.com, and then when it asks for find a race, you type in Fiesta Topeka 5K, and then it will give you 2 blocks to sign up. One block is for the actual participant, and the other block is for the 10 and under. The 10 and under are free, and we do have a treat bag for them for participating. However, the actual participant who pays the fee, which right now through June 12th is $30, you also get a free T-shirt. And then we'll have some other paraphernalia or information about other local races that may be occurring or activities in the Topeka area in their race packet.
And that's an important thing to note as well, that early bird registration is still ongoing, and that ends when?
Friday, June 12th. They have till 11:59 that evening to sign up so they can get their T-shirt with their entry fee.
Again, runsignup.com and search for the Fiesta Topeka 5K. You can also go to the Fiesta Topeka website, fiestatopeka.com. That's how you can get more information and also register to be a volunteer and contact Angel Griego, who is the race director, because, of course, volunteers make this event come off smoothly every year. It's the longest running 5K run walk in the capital city, and it will be held on June 27th. This year, the Fiesta Topeka 5K Run Walk. Again, the race director is Angel Griego. She joins us on 580 Sports Talk. Angel, thank you so much for taking the time to help promote the race, and we hope that we've inspired some more people to sign up and help continue to grow this great capital city tradition.
I hope so too. Thank you for your time.
That is Angel Griego. Again, one more time, how you get signed up for this year's Fiesta Topeka 5K run walk. Go to the website runsignup.com. 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 When it prompts you to look for your race, it's the Fiesta Topeka 5K. Early bird registration through June 12th, just $30 per runner and free for the kiddos 10 and under. The race takes place June 27th at the Oakland Community Center as part of the 2026 Fiesta Topeka. And for more information about that full event, all the other activities that go along with it, go to fiestatopeka.com. More on 580 Sports Talk coming up after this. From the Bard, Christopher, on our YouTube live chat, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. There once was a fellow named Rice, a chief through every virtue and vice. He'll now head to jail 30 days without bail because he thinks the ganja is nice. Well done. Well done. Some of your best work, Christopher. Appreciate that. NFL has issued a statement regarding Rashee Rice being booked into jail earlier today from league spokesperson Brian McCarthy. Quote, "We are aware of the report and will decline further comment at this time." So they've released a statement. The Chiefs have yet to release a statement. This is the other part of it for Rashee Rice, too. Like, even if he was going to get a second contract, like a substantial second contract, the road to getting one of those is really narrow for a Chiefs wide receiver. We talk about the Chiefs don't give second contracts to cornerbacks. Well, look at the positions they do give second contracts to. Quarterback, obviously. They give second contract to George Karlaftis, like edge rushers, premium positions, offensive linemen. They've kept Chris Jones. They've kept Travis Kelce, like elite guys at those positions. Time came to pay Tyreek Hill. They traded him. Rashee Rice, toxic as far as being a trade target goes. Now even more so after today. The path was very narrow for Rice. Like, if he wanted to be a Kansas City Chief, it was going to be hard anyway to justify the expense for the Chiefs, for a team that is kind of hesitant to lay out for wide receivers like that. And it definitely doesn't help your cause when you violate your probation, get thrown in jail. Yeah, and a lot of scallywags, scoundrels have been employed by the Kansas City Chiefs in the Andy Reid era. I don't think they've employed anyone dumber than Rashee Rice. Just dumber. We'll come back in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll shift gears. We'll talk a little Royals baseball. Their approach is in question at the plate. And I'm going to be critical of their plate approach. Plus, Jayhawk Weekly with Michael Swain. That's coming up in the next hour, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2, 580 Sports Talk on this Tuesday. Welcome in. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and living color on our streaming video channels, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, and WIBW News on Facebook. Glad you're with us today. With you until 6 o'clock, at which point we'll hand things off to the Royals Baseball Network. Game 2 of the 3-game set between the Royals and the Red Sox, who fired their manager late last month, and currently have a better record than the Royals do. By half a game, but still. 20-27 to the Royals, 20-28. Game 2 of the 3-game series is tonight's matchup of lefties, though it's really a bullpen day for Kansas City. Ranger Suarez on the mound for Boston. Bailey Falter will get the nod for KC. First pitch at 6:40 tonight. Again, pregame coverage at 6 o'clock on the Royals Baseball Network. We'll get into the Royals a little bit. A trend that has been season long and that has hurt the Royals and has contributed greatly to the disappointment of their 20-28 start has been their performance with runners in scoring position. But one number in particular with runners in scoring position really jumped out at me when I was looking at some of the individual performances. Like, we know who's hitting with runners in scoring position, and we know who isn't. And who isn't keeps getting to bat 3 and 4 in the lineup against right-handers every single day. But there's another number that I thought was really kind of revealing, and it got my attention after last night. And I do think that this is one of those things that you can put at the feet of the Royals director of hitting, Alex Zumwalt, who came in for a lot of criticism earlier this season. Haven't seen his name in the chat. Haven't seen his name on the text line as often in the last month, even as the Royals have continued to largely struggle, because this offense has performed at a level that has been higher than the established offensive performance that we've seen the last 2 seasons for the Royals. But not with runners in scoring position, they aren't. And I think it is an approach issue, and I do think that's an Alex Zumwalt problem. So we'll get into that here in just a little bit. We'll also be joined by Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. He joins us every Tuesday at the bottom of the hour for Jayhawk Weekly. We'll get his thoughts on some more good news on the recruiting trail for Kansas football. We'll look ahead to the Big 12 tournament for KU baseball and his thoughts on a very revealing sit-down that friend of the program, CJ Moore of The Athletic, had with the head coach of the Jayhawks, Bill Self. That article is up today at The Athletic. If you're a subscriber, you should definitely go check that out. If you're not a subscriber, you should be one, because CJ Moore writes for The Athletic, and that's worth the price of admission right there. Again, that's at The Athletic today. That is a very, I think, revealing look at Bill Self's health and state of mind and excitement level for the coming 2026-27 season. So we'll talk about, we got plenty to talk about with Michael Swain coming up at the bottom of this hour. We've also got another round of What Is Wrong With You, plus your interaction with the show. Hit us on the text line, 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube channel. Name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Go slam that subscribe button if you have yet to do so, and interact with us and your fellow listeners as we go along in the live chat. Before we get back to the Royals, Nate Taylor of ESPN.com, Chiefs beat writer, has obtained this statement, and it comes via fellow ESPN writer Michael Rothstein. This statement from the office of the Dallas County District Attorney regarding the Rashee Rice jail time that he is serving as of today for a violation of his probation. Mr. Rice was taken into custody today in the 194th Judicial District Court for testing positive for THC and ordered to serve the 30 days that he had previously been ordered to serve at a later time starting today. Per the court's order, he will be in the Dallas County Jail from today until June 16th, 2026. Our office has no further comment. So that was difficult to understand based on the initial police report. But the terms of Rice's guilty plea to the two felonies that he pled guilty to was that at some point he was going to go to jail. At some point he was going to have to serve his 30 days. And because he violated his probation, that some point is right now. And it's a real inconvenient some point for a professional football player to be in jail during OTAs and mandatory minicamp. When you've got all of March and all of April and most of July where you can do your time to fail this drug test and to have this violation of your probation and get thrown in jail. Now, almost to me, that makes it worse. Almost makes it worse, like the timing of it, the understanding of, all right, I can kind of pick and choose. Like, I got to go to jail. Like, I'm going to go to jail at some point, but I can kind of pick and choose it a little bit. Like, honestly, at some point, you think maybe this March would have been the best time to do it. Like, you could have done it this instead of during free agency next year, or when you're, in the off-season project with maybe a new team next year. Like, there would have been worse times than this summer to serve his jail time, but there are not many worse times to do it than OTAs and mandatory minicamp. When you're trying to prove that you are trustworthy, when you're trying to prove that your team can rely on you and rely on your presence, and you have emphatically now said, no, you cannot. I am not trustworthy. Yeah. I am not reliable. I am not worthy of even a 1-year prove it. Never mind a long-term contract extension that could have kept me in Kansas City and catching passes from Patrick Mahomes. That's the other thing. I leaned on this a little bit in the first hour too, but man, you are Patrick Mahomes' number one wide receiver.
You're going to go and mess that up.
32 teams in the NFL. Each of them roster about 6 wide receivers on average. So let's just do back of the napkin math here. That's 192 receivers on active 53-man rosters on a week in, week out basis, to say nothing of guys who are on practice squads, guys who are in the UFL, guys who are just kind of hanging on to that NFL dream. And all but a handful of them would trade places with you in a heartbeat to be the number one target for the best quarterback in the game. And that's not worth preserving to you. That's not worth enhancing to you. That's not worth proving your own reliability for. That's not worth just not smoking marijuana. A very easy choice to make, to not smoke or engage in the consumption of marijuana when you know that doing so could possibly accelerate the timetable for your jail time.
So I have to wonder, right? The world lives off what ifs, but I do wonder if he did in fact decide to be the mature man and serve that jail time, like, this past off season, like you said, March would have been a time to do it. What would have happened?
So I don't know the particulars. Like,
because
I don't know.
He did violate his probation.
Yeah.
So,
and he's going to still be on probation. Like, probation doesn't go away.
Yeah.
You're still on probation for the full term of your probation. So, yeah, I don't.
Also, I know the NFL doesn't have a policy for marijuana anymore. That's not a suspending policy anymore.
Right.
But if a guy violates his probation, isn't that like,
and has already been suspended under the personal conduct policy? I'm sure the NFL will take a look.
Yeah, like there's a non-zero chance something could happen.
There's already been a no comment issued by the league office, but would it surprise you if the league wants to make an example out of somebody? Not me, because I think they kind of already made an example out of Rice the first time when we were sitting here thinking, man, maybe he only gets like a 2-game suspension for this. And first-time offender and other traffic violators have gotten off kind of light. Nah, man, he got 6 games. League clearly wanted to make an example of him the first time around. It didn't take. Again, 785-272-9429 is the text line. You can also get at us in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Royals lost last night, 3-1 to the Red Sox. It was over in a hurry. The weather never a factor. Probably wouldn't have even been a real factor if the game had started at its regular time. It breezed through. 2-hour, 25-minute affair. Good pitchers duel until the sixth. Seth Lugo got and Sonny Gray didn't. That was sort of the difference in the game. The 2-run homer by William Contreras in the sixth that broke a 0-0 tie. It was still 6 strong from Lugo. You'll take that every time from the veteran. Starting pitching is back on track for the Royals. That's 4 consecutive quality starts now. Right on time for the offense to take a dive again here in mid-May. They were not good last night. They were not good again with runners in scoring position. Isaac Collins was the he had to wear the goat horns last night. Had that caught-looking strikeout in the what inning was that? Where they had second and third with 1 out. It was the second. It was early. It was a chance to throw an early Gray, and Collins got caught looking with Perez on third and Caglione after he had doubled, and then Michael Massey grounded out to end that threat. You had a situation where Kyle Isbell got a hit with runner in scoring position, but Michael Massey got thrown out at home. I did not really love that send by Vance Wilson. It's still a scoreless game. You've got the top of the order coming up with 1 out and first and third. I kind of think that was, I mean, by the time Massey hits the third base bag, the left fielder's already up with the ball. So not a very good send, not a great throw, but it didn't have to be to get Massey at home plate. Then later on in the game, it was Collins again. After Cags double, drove in Jensen, runner at second, nobody out, chance to move a runner to third in a 3-run game. You need that run, and Collins strikes out. Massey grounds out. Isbell strikes out to end that threat. Perez grounded out with a runner at second, 2 out in the 8th in a 2-run game. Once again, offense with runners in scoring position continuing to flunk out. The Royals remain holders of the worst batting average in the league with runners in scoring position, hitting like 229. With runners in scoring position. Their OPS with runners in scoring position is worse than everybody but Boston, which not a coincidence. Those are 2 teams at the bottom of the American League with their records.
Would you have pulled Jensen for Marte?
When?
In the 9th.
Actually, I thought it was probably the thing to do, right? They didn't pull Cags and let Cags bat against Chapman because he had, I guess, earned his keep with the 2 doubles. But no, I think pinch hitting for Jensen there, probably the right thing to do against a left-handed power pitcher. Yeah, like if you're going to be the team that platoons, I don't mind a little bit of ideological consistency there and go into a right-handed bat in that spot instead of Jensen. Marte got caught looking. Aroldis Chapman's really good. I was glad they let Caglione bat, to be completely honest with you. He put the ball in play, grounded out to first, but that was nice to at least see Cags get a chance. But back to the point about runners in scoring position. The Royals have the worst batting average, second worst OPS in baseball. It's not all Salvador Perez and Vinny Pasquantino. It's a lot them because they've had 120 plate appearances with runners in scoring position, and the team as a whole has had 471. So a full quarter, more than a quarter of those high leverage, big swing at bats have come from the 3 and 4 hole hitters, every day 3 and 4 hole hitters in the Royals order. And those guys keep on failing. Salvador Perez is 8 for 51. Like I could throw the slash line at you, but let's just keep it plain English. Salvador Perez has 8 hits in 51 at bats with runners in scoring position, 2 of them for extra base hits. He struck out 10 times. Vinny Pasquantino, 8 for 48 with runners in scoring position. He has as many extra base hits with runners in scoring position as Spencer Dupuis. It's a 0. He's also struck out 14 times in those spots. Jack Caglione, for as optimistic as we remain about his improvement as a hitter, he has come up small in those spots this year. 4 for 29 with nothing but singles. He's got as many extra base hits with runners in scoring position as Dan Lucero, 0, and 11 strikeouts in those 29 at-bats. And as I looked at those strikeout numbers, big picture, there's a direct correlation between guys who are struggling with runners in scoring position, a general correlation. Guys struggling with runners in scoring position and an increase in their strikeout rate with runners in scoring position. Looking at guys who have, like, I'm throwing Elias Diaz and Tyler Tolbert out of this discussion here. Guys who primarily have gotten the opportunities with runners in scoring position. Strikeout rates are way up for some of these guys. Kyle Isbell strikes out almost 8% more often with runners in scoring position. Jack Caglione, 7.5% more often. Isaac Collins, whose whole thing is putting the ball in play because he's not a power hitter. He's got to put the ball in play. Second and third, one out, no score, early. You've got to put the ball in play. You can't be a passenger. You can't be a spectator on strike three. Isaac Collins striking out 7% more often with runners in scoring position. Vinny Pasquantino striking out 3.5% more often. Flip side of this, the guys who've been good with runners in scoring position this year, so like Bobby Witt Jr. and Michael Garcia, they strike out way less. Bobby Witt Jr. strikes out nearly 7% less often with a runner in scoring position. Garcia strikes out 7.5% less often with runners in scoring position. Now, Salvador Perez also cuts his strikeout rate by about 5% with runners in scoring position. He hasn't gotten the results, obviously, but to me, that tells you that there's a maturity to the approach with runners in scoring position that a bulk of this team lacks. If you're curious about some other guys, not really a meaningful fluctuation in strikeout percentage for Carter Jensen. Nick Lofton has yet to strike out in 19 plate appearances with runners in scoring position. Michael Massey's rate way down. Lane Thomas's rate slightly up. But more up than down when it comes to strikeout rate with runners in scoring position. Guys are not putting the ball in play as adeptly as they do in a at-bat where it's not as high leverage, it's not as high pressure. And that suggests a lot of possibilities. Guys could have a bad approach. Guys could be pressing, expanding their strike zones in ways that they should not be expanding their strike zone. Hitters like Isaac Collins and Kyle Isbell in particular, like those guys are not high strikeout guys. They become higher strikeout guys with runners in scoring position. That to me suggests a problem. And that's the kind of thing when you're talking about approach, when you're talking about at-bat per over at-bat, like how are you attacking a pitcher? What is your plan of attack? We sort of talked about this on, I want to say it was either Thursday's show or Friday's show, but the White Sox clearly had a plan for how they were going to attack the Royals starting pitchers. It was Bubic in particular. They had a plan of attack against Bubic and executed that plan of attack, jumped on him, scored 5 runs in 4 innings on Bubic. I am mystified. If you ask me, like, and it's obviously it changes by pitcher, it changes by game. I know these things, but I don't know what the Royals' plan of attack on offense is. I don't know what their offensive identity is. Like,
I feel like you should know that by this point.
You should probably know that about 50 games in.
Yes.
Yeah, like I understand that this is not like this is not the keep the line moving 2015 world champion was. Okay, like where there's a little bit more power on this team. It's a different sport. Like baseball in 2026 requires a bit of a different approach than baseball in 2015. It's a different game. So it's not the keep the line moving 2015 Royals, but like, what is their identity? Are they going to be a team that's patient, has a lot of long, drawn out? Now, they're going to be Cleveland. They're going to be hard to strike out. They're going to put the ball in play a bunch. Or are they going to be a team that is just going to bash? Like their whole identity is we're going to hit a bunch of home runs. Because that'd be a really stupid identity for this particular baseball team to take on when your bashers are hitting around 200 in the 3-4 hole every day. You're big bashers, and you're still waiting on the big power from Caglione. And Jensen, it feels like, hasn't homered for about a month. And, Bobby Witt Jr. was slow to get the power going. And Michael Garcia hasn't really gotten the power going. This team's inability to sort of identify what it is that's going to make them like successful night in, night out. I think you see that reflected last night through 5 innings. Sonny Gray had 8 strikeouts and he had thrown just 66 pitches. Like, what is that? And Sonny Gray is a solid veteran. This isn't prime Sonny Gray that we're talking about here. He hasn't really pitched quite like that guy, the strikeout merchant that Sonny Gray was at his best. He hasn't been that guy all year. But he looked like that guy through 5. He ended up with 80 pitches in 6 innings with 9 strikeouts. You never see that in today's Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you as a team, your job is to get the pitcher out of the game, right? Like essentially that's your job as hitters in the first few innings, right? Drive the pitcher out of the game, get to the bullpen.
Yeah, you'd like to run up like that. That's certainly an appropriate approach.
They took him out at 80 pitches. He had 8 Ks. They could have kept him in.
Had 9, yeah.
9, yeah. Could have kept him in.
Probably should have.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. They did, and then they touched him up. Jensen and Caglione got him, and then they took him out. But like he had dominated the bottom third of the order. He absolutely could have stayed in. I would have trusted him. Like, it's a different game now, right? Like 10, 20 years ago, he would have stayed in to face Collins, Massey, and Isbell. This different game. They had a pretty fresh bullpen. They went to Justin Slate, and he got 2 big strikeouts, stranded Caglione at second, and the Royals didn't really threaten to even up the game again after that. But to that larger point, that I just don't feel like this team has much of an offensive identity. They don't have a consistent approach, game in, game out, week in, week out. That's the kind of thing that does fall on Alex Zumwalt. And for those who have agitated for a managerial change, and I've heard from some of you, and you got a text here from the 785. I think it's time to fire the manager and the hitting coach. It's terrible with runners in scoring position. It's unacceptable. Text was 620 asked if the Royals don't have anybody who can bunt. It's a valid question, honestly. Like some guys you don't ask to bunt, and Bobby Witt Jr. You're not going to ask to bunt with a runner in scoring position. He's hitting well over 300 with runners. Like Bobby Witt Jr. is entirely blameless for anything that's happening here. He's playing like the MVP. He's gonna Andre Dawson in 1987 the MVP at this point. You don't remember? You weren't alive.
He would be though if he didn't get back into the Bobby Witt we know. He had a tough start to the year.
Power-wise, he did. Yeah, first couple of weeks were slow, and he's been the most, even with those 2 weeks included, he's been the most valuable player in baseball. He's gonna end up like Andre Dawson in 1987, where the Cubs finished in last place, and Dawson won the MVP anyway, because there wasn't anybody else to give it to. He had 47 home runs or whatever it was. Maybe 49. I don't remember exactly, but it's going to be that kind of an MVP year right now. It's trending that direction for Bobby Witt Jr. He's pretty blameless as these things go, but there is an ongoing failure for this offense, even though I think it is improved man for man, and the numbers suggest it is improved man for man. But the approach in the big moments, the inability to put together the big inning, make the big swing, put up the crooked number, those are problems that have persisted all season long. And I've been really, really slow to, particularly last year, like everybody wanted Alex Zumwalt fired, and my whole thing was they don't have a lot of good hitters. Like it's not really Alex Zumwalt's fault. I think they have more talent on this team, and I do think that I'm starting to see things approach-wise that you can absolutely pin on the hitting coach and criticize the director of hitting, Alex Zumwalt, for doing. We're going to take a quick time out here at 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, it's What Is Wrong With You time. Then we'll talk to Michael Swain for Jayhawk Weekly. is What Is Wrong With You time on 580 Sports Talk. We've got two new stories today competing to take down our champion from yesterday. Call your landmine lady. The Arizona woman who was conducting an enterprise. That's what she pled guilty to doing, selling dangerous drugs, firearms, and landmines in southern Arizona. Moving drugs, yeah, whatever. Moving firearms, yeah, that's you encounter that now and then. Landmines, bouncing Betty landmines. I just wonder how she came into those. Never mind who she was finding to sell them to. That's that feels like a Lifetime movie.
Yeah,
right there. You got two new stories today. Spencer, go ahead and go first.
Yeah, we're going to Fort Myers, Florida. Deputies arrested a Florida man on Saturday after he rammed his truck into another vehicle in a modular home 5 times before fleeing, according to authorities. Witnesses reported that Joseph Absalon, 35, got in his truck and backed onto a property in Fort Myers. He then struck a vehicle and a modular home on the property 5 times, according to the Lee County Sheriff's Office. He continued driving down the street and stopped in front of a residence where LCSO said he is subject to an active domestic violence injunction. Body camera shows deputies yelling commands for him to exit his truck, but he fled through the neighborhood. He then drove recklessly, striking a street sign, nearly colliding with a marked patrol vehicle while ignoring emergency lights and sirens. Deputies brought the chase to an end using a precision mobilization technique maneuver, which
a pit maneuver.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm assuming that's a pit maneuver. He was transported to Lee County Jail charged with aggravated assault with intent to commit a felony, 2 counts of criminal mischief, fleeing and eluding law enforcement, hit and run with property damage, 3 counts of violation of a domestic violence injunction.
Yeah, it's not a stretch to imagine that the home and or the vehicle in question may have belonged to somebody that he had a domestic violence injunction against, or who had an injunction against him. Yeah, bad guy, Joseph Absalon, bad guy. We'll go to Seattle for my story today, where the Seattle Police Department says a man in his 50s made his way into the ceiling of an LA Fitness, then fell about 15 feet to the ground. Officers responded about 3 p.m. Witnesses told police the man entered the gym, went into both the women's and men's bathrooms, then could not be found. A gym patron then told staff they thought someone was walking around in the ceiling after seeing a man's foot break through a ceiling tile. Yeah, you're a regular Sherlock Holmes there. Yeah, I think there's a guy in the ceiling. Well, how do you know? Well, I saw a guy's foot, and it was through the ceiling. Gym staff told Seattle police the man then fell through the ceiling, landed on the ground about 15 feet below, and was knocked unconscious. Officers believe he was experiencing a mental health crisis. He was unaware that he had fallen through the ceiling. He could also have just suffered a concussion on account of he was knocked unconscious.
Yeah.
He is facing property destruction charges. He just decided to get up in the roof. I want to walk around up here. Check it out. See what's going on. Maybe the LA Fitness. Maybe they got like a what do you call it? Obstacle course up there, something like that. Bit of a spin on your fitness routine. I think that one wins today. Yeah. A bit more levity to that story. But I do not think it beats the landmine lady.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I have a lot of unanswered questions about that. Can we call her for an interview?
I don't know if we can call her. I think she's otherwise occupied. I also don't think anyone would take real kindly to receiving a phone call. Hey, we produce a segment called "What Is Wrong With You," and we would like to talk to the you in question. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna get a lot of our calls returned on that.
Yeah,
I mean, worst thing that what was her name? The worst thing that Christina Eileen Gonzalez could say is no. But how about we try her in 14 and a half years when she's out of prison? Maybe have a little more luck there. Call your landmine lady. She continues as our winner on What Is Wrong With You. We'll take a time out here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, Jayhawk Weekly with Michael Swain, Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. It's coming up here on WIBW. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. He joins us every Tuesday at this time for a little segment we call Jayhawk Weekly. Michael covers the Jayhawks at Fog.net and appears with us again here on 580 Sports Talk. And Michael, let's begin. A lot of places we could start today, but let's start with the football recruiting news of the day. Braden Graves, 3-star defensive back, commits to Lance Leipold's Jayhawk program. Why is he such a big deal get for the Jayhawks?
Yeah, he's a really good player out of Texas. You can look at the safety position for KU and, likely taking one, maybe two. And so I think they were pretty picky with who they were going after. And Braden's someone that they've been recruiting for almost 18 months now, where DK McDonald, Brandon Shelby offered him at the start of 2025. And here we are midway through 26 and he commits. So he's someone the coaching staff is super familiar with. They've had him on campus multiple times. They've been down to see him in person multiple times. And I think at the end of the day, Graves took a visit to SMU at the start of this month, had some other visits lined up with Houston and potentially TCU as well in Utah. So he was getting interest. And I think at the end of the day, he looked at KU and felt like the plan that they had for him was what he wanted to follow through with. And kind of getting to talk to Braden a little bit about the decision. He's really high on DK McDonald and Brandon Shelby and the relationship side with both those guys. But also McDonald and I think the plan that they have for him to develop over the course of time. And as a player, you can look at him on tape and, he's got a good nose for the football. He's athletic. He plays in a couple different positions, which if you're looking at KU secondary right now, they really do have a lot of guys that are going to play multiple spots and they want guys that can be versatile. Can you play both safety spots? Can you play nickel? And you look at Graves on tape and he played some nickel in high school. He's played kind of field and boundary safety. So he kind of checks a lot of boxes. And so it makes sense why, if you're going to have a smaller safety class, you get a guy that's got a lot of versatility. And I think that's him.
It's been a busy time for the KU football staff as they continue to try and assemble that recruiting class of 2027. They've been heavy with their presence in the Kansas City area. This class in particular on the Missouri side already have the commitment from the wide receiver Dang Tong. They're also in on some other players over on the Missouri side of the state line. Is that maybe a trend that Kansas would like to see a little bit more presence over in KC Mo in particular? Or is this just kind of indicative of a particularly intriguing class of players this year in the KC area?
Well, I think they've started to get more into KC Mo, even with the last cycle, and they got Kevin Sullivan from Rockhurst and Jack Oots from Platte County. So they have tried. And I think more the way it's viewed is it's still local recruiting at the end of the day. I know in the past, maybe several years ago especially, right, we were making a big deal out of, hey, can Kansas get some in-state players, some Kansas kids? Well, hey, a mile separates, right? Kansas City, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri. You can still go find guys on the KC Mo side, and they can still have that kind of close to home Kansas feel of being a local guy. So I think you look at the class in the state of Kansas, it's not particularly strong, right? In recent years, like last year was a good cycle. Next year is going to be another really good cycle. This year's kind of down. And so I think KU's trying to find ways to continue to add some of that, local flavor to the classes and make sure that continues to be a part of the program. So by doing that, you go over to the KC Mo side and you mentioned Dang Tong. He's one of the better players in the Metro. And you've got Kobe Rhymes out of North Kansas City, who, man, you look at his offer list and it's all Power 4 schools. He's got, Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State, all those schools that have offered him. And so KU's really in a recruiting battle there with Missouri and some other schools. So I think from a KU perspective, they want to continue to recruit locally and make that a focus. The state of Kansas, it's not super encouraging this cycle, right? You've got, Brody Fansteel is going to Texas Tech. He was a target. You got Cooper Omocht, who KU's recruited a lot. We'll see if he visits in June, but good chance he goes to Penn State. So, you're seeing some of these local guys go elsewhere. And so KU's got to try and find other ways to continue that, trend of making that an important part of the roster building tools. So going to KC Mo is the way they're going. And right now it seems like, Tong's in the class and they're really going to try and push for Rhymes. And they get those two guys, that counts as kind of your two local guys. And when you got a smaller class, that's going to be, 13, maybe 14 guys, two out of that. I think you'll take that.
What impact is Kansas hoping for? Because it always helps when it comes to local recruiting, if the local guys you recruit do end up playing and being impact guys in your program. What kind of impact is KU looking for, big picture, from some of its local presences on their roster, maybe even expanded impact relative to 2025 as they go into 2026?
Totally. So I think, you look at the roster, and it's been a little bit of a slow burn with the local recruiting where it's taken a lot of time really to build that out. Calvin Clemens was really one of the first big wins for KU, right? Flipping him from Baylor after the 2022 season. He was a part of the 23 class. So he's one of the first big ones. So you look at him and say, yes, he's going to be your starting left tackle, most likely. You need him to play well. But then, coming through the pipeline here, you've got someone like Brandon Schmelsley, who I think this fall you're looking at him probably playing a special teams role, but I had him down as one of the stock risers from the spring. I think he had a super productive spring based on what I heard at practice. And so even if he doesn't play a bunch on defense this year, he's only a redshirt freshman. He's someone that is going through the program pipeline and should make an impact in the long term. You can look like, someone like, Garrett Martin, or I'm sorry, Hunter Higgins. Got names confused. Hunter Higgins from Mays, early enrollee, going to take some time. And then Jalen Mason, another kid from Wichita, who is going to take some time to develop. But it's one of those where, because it's taken so long for KU to kind of develop that pipeline in the state, it's not one of those you're going to see instant success. It's going to take some time for those guys to develop. And I think some of those are coming through the pipeline. Another guy I forgot to mention was Tate Nagy, coming from Blue Valley area. Punt returner last year. We'll see if he can earn a role on the two deep as a slot receiver this fall, but that kind of rounds out at least some of the obvious local kids I think you'll see kind of making an impact this fall.
Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, is our guest. This is Jayhawk Weekly here on 580 Sports Talk. Very revealing article in The Athletic today. CJ Moore sat down with Bill Self, talked to him about his health, how he's feeling, how he came to the decision to come back and coach in 2026 and 2027. How much of a motivating factor for Bill Self do you think it is to finish, whenever that is, whether it's next year or down the road, to end on a high note? There's a line in the article where he says, I understand not everybody gets to end on a win, but it has been, 4 straight years without having advanced out of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. How important is it for Bill Self that whenever he decides to walk away, that he does so on a year where there is some level of triumph for him and his program?
Yeah, I think that's something he's been pretty upfront maybe about, is the fact that he doesn't want to leave on what he feels like is a down year. And look, having your last moment as the Kansas head coach be the way you lost to St. John's, like, that's a pretty tough pill to swallow. And I think that having if KU wins the title, that's great. And I think right on the bat, Bill Self's retiring. But I think, like you said, more often than not, your career ends on a loss. And I think it's more about the season and feeling like you really had it all. Where you look recently, and when was the last time that KU really had what Self would say is like a whole team? Last year, Darren didn't really play, and so they didn't really reach their ceiling. The year before, the pieces didn't really fit, and the end of the season, things kind of fell apart. The year before that, Kevin McCullough gets hurt, and Bill Self throughout that season said, man, we're just not whole. And so you kind of go through time, and you can see how things have sputtered at the end of the season. And I think for Self, it's going to come down to obviously his health, but also making sure that when you leave that, hey, it was a good season. Is that winning the Big 12? Is that making the Sweet 16, the Final Four? Like, I don't know what that kind of barrier is for him, but I do think that's going to be something that's important when he makes that final decision. I think leaving on a high is something he wants to do.
We remember how Self talked about Darren Peterson and the level of talent he thought that he had in Peterson going into last season. It seemed like, and Peterson was maybe a generational recruit. Number one in that class meant maybe something different than number one in other classes.
Mm-hmm.
But do you sense that there is a similar level of excitement? Maybe not exactly apples to apples, but a similar level of excitement for Bill Self to get to coach a talent like Tyron Stokes?
Yeah, I think it's so. Here's the thing that's different, right? Darren signed early, and so you had what 6 months of Bill Self pounding the table about the kid coming in and talking about how great he was going to be, and I think that added to the excitement, right? Whereas now it's really going to be a little bit of a shorter runway for that, where Tyron Stokes will be on campus to start summer classes here in about 2 weeks. Yeah, about 2 weeks, I'd say. And so it's going to be a little bit different where I think the next time Self talks, like he will have Coach Tyron Stokes at that point. So I think there is equal excitement about the potential impact he can have on the team. Because, look, if Darren was healthy and didn't have the cramping stuff at the beginning of the year, didn't have the hamstring issue, like you saw the talent. You saw that he probably would have been a first-team All-American. And traditionally, right, the guys that are the number one player in the class in really good classes or solid classes, you can look at Cooper Flag or any number of guys like that, they typically play at a really high level. And so there is going to be expectation on Tyron Stokes to be that type of guy, to be a first-team All-Big 12, potential All-American level type of player. And so, yeah, I think Self is excited to have that type of player to coach. And I think Self, in a different way to Peterson, I think is going to be excited by the challenge of coaching Tyron Stokes because of just how he is as a human being, where Darren's a little more reserved. Tyron's not that, right? I think you're going to know how Tyron feels most of the time. And so that's going to be a different type of challenge for Self. And I think that's something that he relishes, is working with players like that, where, hey, you can coach them hard, they can take it, and they may even give a little bit back to you. I think Self loves that in a player when they have that competitive edge. And I think that's going to be an exciting piece of this for him as he gets to coach Stokes.
Couple more questions for Michael Swain of Fog.net. This is Jayhawk Weekly on 580 Sports Talk. Michael, what's your level of confidence that KU baseball will get to host a regional at Hoagland Ballpark?
Ooh, my level of confidence. I would say I'm like a 60-40 on it right now. I want to see how they do at the Big 12 tournament, obviously. One thing I think that will help is, and asking around some, people in the Big 12 who have paid a lot more closer attention to this in recent years, is the fact that last year, I think a lot of people in the Big 12 felt that a Big 12 team should have hosted a regional. And the fact that they got shut out from that is something that they made very clear to the selection committee. And I think that's something that maybe coming around this year could help a team like KU, is the fact that, Big 12 felt it was, for lack of a better term, screwed over last year. And maybe that helps a team like KU. But at the end of the day, KU needs a good week. And I think that's entirely possible. And if they go and win the Big 12 tournament, I think there's a no doubt argument that they should be hosting a regional. If they don't, I still think there's a chance it happens, but it's one of those where there are a lot of different ways it can go. And so I wouldn't definitely make a prediction right now, but I do feel a little better about their chances than maybe when we talked last week.
Michael, if they do hold a regional, I've seen a lot of speculation on X and Twitter that they're going to do that. Maybe they're going to add some additional seating in the outfield. It appears the outfield wall in left field is down and it's just a fence. Do you know anything as what could go in before they potentially host a regional?
I think that's something they would look at doing. And I know that's something that Travis Goff has looked at for a little while now. I think you remember last year, was it at the end of the year when, fans were packing the ballpark and there was not enough room. So you factor in now having a regional and you need more space. And I think that's something KU is going to look at. If KU does host, I would not be surprised at all if you see some temporary seating or some movement over the left field wall. And that'd be quite the turnaround. Travis Goff has done a lot of work with these construction projects. Not sure if you guys know about that with the football stadium, but that'd be one heck of a turnaround to all of a sudden put up something like that in quick succession.
Michael Swain covers the Kansas Jayhawks for Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, and he joins us every Tuesday on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline for Jayhawk Weekly. Michael, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Awesome. Sounds great. Talk to you guys next week.
That is Michael Swain. We'll take a break, come back, and put a wrap on this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. Our thanks again to Michael Swain of Fog.net for joining us. Cannot recommend, again, that feature today over at The Athletic. CJ Moore sitting down with Bill Self, talk about how he's feeling and what went into the decision to come back, coach the Jayhawks this coming year. Very, very good stuff from a friend of the program, CJ Moore, over at The Athletic today. And interesting and introspective stuff from Bill Self, who's always come off to me. I was talking to Brendan about this off the air. There's what's so normal you can be in a job like major Division I men's basketball coach. There's what's so normal you get to be in a job like that because the pressures, the demands, the money, the travel, just everything that goes into that job. But rather than become just like a basketball robot or something kind of soulless, I've never felt like Bill Self was that. He's always seemed human in a way that I don't know that every like titan of men's basketball coaching has always felt. And so I thought, again, that was very revealing, very introspective. And I don't know how much longer Bill Self's going to be the coach of Kansas, but we got to cherish him while he is there. We will have in the 5 o'clock hour our 580 Sports Talk headlines, including a playoff roundup. We'll do Random Question Tuesday and preview the Royals coming up next. Let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Tuesday evening. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis hanging out with you here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. So glad you're hanging out with us today. We are with you until 6 o'clock. We'll pass the rock to the Royals Baseball Network at that time. Royals and Red Sox, game 2 of 3 at the K. Royals remain in a funk after a 3-1 loss last night. They have dropped 7 of their last 8 games. Their loss tonight would return them to a season high, not a season high you want, 9 games below 500. They'll hope to get back right with a bullpen game tonight. Bailey Falcher gets the start. Probably see Luinder Avila tonight as well, I would imagine. Eli Morgan stretched out at AAA Omaha. He got called up the other day when Chris Bubich went on the IL. I would imagine it would be some combination of those 3. Try and ham and egg it for as long as the Royals can, and hopefully pass the baton to the plus side relievers late with a lead. Ranger Suarez, veteran left-hander previously of the Phillies, his first year as a Red Sox, he gets the start for Boston. We'll get more into that a little bit later on this hour. Those who have wanted a different-looking batting order, well, you're getting it, but it is a left-hander on the mound tonight. So we'll see if this is a one-night switch or if this is a prelude to the kinds of moves we may see when the Royals face a right-hander next time. We'll do that a little bit later on this hour. We'll do Random Question Tuesday later on this hour. We got a whole bunch of sports headlines to get to and a playoff roundup as part of that as well. We've got the text line wide open, 785-272-9429. You can also get at us in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Again, is the name of the channel. We appreciate those of you hanging out with us here in hour number 3. We always know hour number 3 is the 5 o'clock hour. And that's when many of you who may be running out the clock at the office maybe have us on your computer. And, maybe you head out of the office for the day and you're catching us maybe in your car, maybe at home or on your phone instead. You're always welcome to join the chat, even if it's, just punch us up on your phone while you've returned home after a hard day making that money, bringing home that bacon.
We really got to get on what we're doing at 1,000 subscribers because we're now 27 away.
We are at 973 subscribers. Deadline spur action. I've said it before.
Yeah.
Deadline spur action. And we're getting close to that deadline because y'all keep subscribing. We appreciate all of our new subscribers we picked up in the last little while. Maybe you would like to get us closer to the 1,000 subscriber mark. You can do that. Just go to 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button or click that subscribe link. And all it costs you is a click. Outside of headlines, we do have finally a statement from the Kansas City Chiefs regarding the big news of the day, which we covered in detail. And I spoke my piece about in the 3 o'clock hour. Rashee Rice headed to jail after violating his probation. He will spend the next 30 days in jail in Dallas County. And as such, will miss OTAs and mandatory minicamp. The Chiefs have issued a statement. The NFL basically had a no comment. The Chiefs statement, very similar. We are aware of the reports and have been in touch with the league office. We will have no further comment at this time. First to get that statement, I believe, first I saw anyway, Sam McDowell of the Kansas City Star. So, no comment from the league, no comment from the team. Not much else you can say other than, Rashee Rice, what are you thinking, dude? What are you thinking? Like I mentioned, got a bunch of headlines, got a random question, got Royals Red Sox game 2 preview to get to in this hour, and your thoughts. Text line 785-272-9429 and 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Let's get to the headlines. Let's start with this cool little piece of news. And this caught me completely off guard when I saw the announcement. We are all familiar with the basketball tournament. Yep. And some of the most prominent teams in the basketball tournament have been those alumni teams from the state of Kansas. Alumni teams representing Wichita State, Kansas, and Kansas State have been prominent participants in the 64-team field over the last few years. We have seen tournament games played in Kansas City and in Wichita. And, of course, last year, the Wichita State alumni, the Aftershocks, won the TBT and the associated $1 million prize in front of a crowd of over 9,000 at Charles Koch Arena. Well, the TBT is switching up the format this year. It is downsizing in terms of field size, but it is making for a larger winner's purse of $2 million. And instead of countless alumni teams, there will be 8 alumni teams, and 2 of them are going to play each other. And one of those games is going to be right here in the capital city at Lee Arena. From the press release, the basketball tournament unveiled a new format and winner-take-all $2 million prize, headlined by a first-round best-of-3 series between Purple Rain and JHX Hoops. TBT 2026 will feature 16 teams, 8 alumni teams, and 8 non-alumni teams competing on 2 separate sides of the bracket. TBT's first round will now be a best-of-3 series before returning to the single elimination format for future rounds. 5 wins needed to capture the $2 million prize. So that suggests to me that obviously you've got an 8-team bracket, 4 alumni teams, 4 non-alumni teams advancing out of best-of-3 play. Michael Beasley's Purple Rain will take on Frank Mason III's JHX Hoops July 21st through the 24th in a best-of-3 series. Game 1, Tuesday, July 21st, Bramlage Coliseum. 8 p.m. tip, live television broadcast on FS1. Game 2, Lee Arena, Washburn University, Topeka. Wednesday, July 22nd, 7 p.m., televised live on FS2. Game 3, if necessary, will be Friday, July 24th, back at Bramlage Coliseum. If you want tickets, you can go get them right now. TBTHoops.com to purchase tickets for those games at Bramlage Coliseum at Lee Arena. Beasley and Mason are confirmed participants as team captains for the KU and K-State alumni squads. The winner of the best-of-3 series will face the winner of the 3-game series between the Wichita State alumni, the Aftershocks, and the New Mexico alumni in a single-game second round Monday, July 27th. The other best-of-3 series in the TBT will be between alumni teams from Kentucky and Louisville, and alumni teams from Syracuse and Seton Hall. The non-alumni teams will participate in the Las Vegas bracket from July 22nd through the 30th. The winner of the Las Vegas bracket will play the winner of the alumni bracket Sunday, August 2nd on Fox at the Alumni Bracket Champions home court. So there is a chance that the TBT championship game, if it's Frank Mason III's JHX Hoops, there's a chance they play that at Lee Arena because that is the designated home gym. Allen Fieldhouse was a no-go, so it's Lee Arena. That's the home of the Jayhawks Hoops.
Hey,
TBT
at least Washburn did those upgrades. They renovated a little bit, got a new video board.
It's going
to look great.
It will look great on TV. There's no question.
That's what I'm referring to. Is like they did some upgrades. It's going to look good on TV.
Yes,
now.
Lee Arena will look great on television, and I am sure that there will be a great crowd that comes out. You can go buy tickets right now, TBTHoops.com, and if you're not able to get tickets, not able to get out to Bramlage or Lee Arena to see the TBT matchups between the KU and K-State alumni teams, they will both of the first 2 games will be on cable TV. The game 3, if necessary, would be streamed live on YouTube. So pretty cool thing for the capital city, no doubt, to get to host some action, and we'll see some all-time KU and K-State greats lace it up at Lee Arena.
I'm a little disappointed in the new format because it eliminates the second best matchup that you could get of alumni teams. Marshall's heard that in West Virginia's Best Virginia. They're no longer in the tournament.
Yeah.
They went from hosting a couple of years back in West Virginia, multiple different sites to not even in the 8-team tournament now. That sucks.
So, yes, it is interesting that the tournament is shrinking, but I think it's probably necessary in the sense that eventually the guys who have been a part of these alumni teams, like the lifeblood of these alumni teams, they're going to age out, right? And who's going to pick up the torch for the aftershocks in Wichita after Connor Frankamp and Marcus McDuffie and guys who were playing college ball when I was in Wichita, which is a lifetime ago? Like, what's going to happen when those guys decide, hey, we don't want to do this anymore. We're getting too old. It's not, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to put on for the city any longer. Like, who's going to pick up the rope? And if you don't have enough of those alumni teams, like, let's be honest, nobody cares about the non-alumni teams. The only interesting thing about the non-alumni teams this year is that there's a higher entry fee and there will be less of them. So the caliber of talent could be higher. And there will be the first 2 teams that we know of the TBT announced. One of them is being fronted by former NBA All-Star Baron Davis. The other is being fronted by former Major League Baseball player D. Strange Gordon. So you'll have some familiar names, and maybe that's a hook to get people invested in the non-alumni teams. But really, the broader interest of the TBT is the alumni teams. That's the hook. And having fewer of them hooks fewer people, but having more credible ones that are going to stay together for longer and have more of a tie to, like, this has been a huge hit in Wichita particularly, but it's been a big hit among K-State and KU fans because it's a way to stay, connected to some guys that remember some guys. It's the Remember Some Guys basketball tournament. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it looks like.
That might be what's happening with Marshall and West Virginia's alumni teams, because John Flowers and Kevin Jones were the West Virginia ones, and John Elmore for Marshall.
Yeah,
kind of, they're kind of aging out.
Yeah, either getting up there in years or their professional careers have continued and they don't want to add one thing to another thing any longer. Anyway, let's continue on with our headlines. Spencer, give us the Big 12 Baseball Awards.
Yes, the Big 12 announced the all-conference teams today. And not surprising, KU wins the outright conference, and Dan Fitzgerald is the coach of the year for the second straight year. The first time that it's happened in the Big 12 since 2010, 2011. Tyson LeBlanc, Bodie Ray earned first-team honors. Cade Baldridge, Josh Dykoff, and Dominic Vagley earned second-team honors. Brady Bollinger and Mason Cook earned honorable mention honors. Unfortunately for Brady Bollinger, saw this on reported on X from a college baseball reporter that he will miss the Big 12 tournament due to an injury. He should be ready for the NCAA tournament.
That is disappointing. Been a disappointing year for a guy who was on a lot of preseason All-American lists, but obviously KU had the lineup depth to buoy what had been a bit of a disappointing year for Bollinger for sure.
K-State's recognition, they get 2 players recognized. One, obviously everybody knows, D. Kennedy. He gets first team. And we talked about this the other day. Bear Madliak, I think is how you say his name.
Yes. He's
a semifinalist for the Catcher of the Year award, the Buster Posey award, and he gets an honorable mention in the Big 12. The all Big 12 teams. Pitcher of the year in the Big 12 is Arizona State's Landon Hairston.
You know who his dad is?
Player of the year is Landon Hairston.
You know who his dad is?
Scott Hairston.
Yeah, you remember
Jr.?
You remember Scott Hairston?
Yes, he was on a few Nats teams.
Scott Hairston.
Name a guy.
Killed the Colorado Rockies. Just killed the Rockies. He hit the go-ahead home run in the tiebreaker game in 2007. He hit the go-ahead home run in the 11th inning, top of the 11th inning. Rockies had to rally in the bottom half to win. But
you can use him on a few immaculate grids.
Scott Hairston just killed the Colorado Rockies.
Real quick, name the teams he was on.
Mets, Padres, most notably, at least as far as I'm concerned. I think he was a National. Did he pop up on the Rangers?
No, he started as a Diamondback, then was a Padre twice.
Did I say Diamondback? I meant to say Diamondback.
Oakland Athletic in 2009, a Met 2011, 2012, a Cub in 2013, before he's either DFA'd or traded to Washington for 2013 to 2014.
I
He was traded, yes, for a minor league player.
I just remember him beating the hell out of the Rockies. Every time he was in line against the Rockies, he hit a home run. It felt like. Anyway.
And then he signed a minor league deal with the White Sox, but was cut before the season started, and then his MLB career ended.
Anyhow, his son, if you want to feel old, player of the year, and then pitcher of the year?
Yes, that's West Virginia's Max Yell.
I think it is. Yeah. Rebel Yell.
Yep.
That I don't know if they call him that. They should. That'd be a cool nickname. Anyhow, yeah, those are your Big 12 baseball awards. Next headline: the 2028 NFL Draft is going to the Twin Cities, officially awarded today, just as the Super Bowl host site. We told you yesterday that the owners were expected to vote for Nashville to get the Super Bowl in 2030. That was made official today, as was the site of the 2028 NFL Draft. That is going to be in Minneapolis. The future sites of the draft, it's coming in 2027 to D.C.
The National Mall.
Yeah, and in 2028, it'll be in the Twin Cities. So the NFL making both of those officials at their spring meetings, today. Next headline, Spencer. This is a wild one from college basketball.
Yes, it is. Former St. John star RJ Luis, the 2025 Big East Player of the Year, who entered the NBA draft. He remained in the draft past the withdrawal period before going undrafted. He then signed a two-way contract with the Utah Jazz before they traded his rights to the Celtics in early August of 2025 in exchange for George Niang and 2 future second-round picks. He was then waived by the Celtics before he signed an Exhibit 10 contract with the Maine Celtics, Boston's G League affiliate. They then waived him, who was injured before he played a game. And guess what? He's decided to come back to college basketball, and he has committed to LSU.
Will Wade doesn't have any players and is desperate to fill out his first roster at LSU, to the point where they are trying to also add a 25-year-old to their roster who was drafted in the second round of the NBA draft back in 2020. But at least that player in question never signed a two-way NBA contract. The NCAA was really clear on this. Like, if you signed an NBA contract, you are not eligible to play NCAA basketball. Yeah. That was the Charles Bediako decision. Bediako got to play those handful of games while there was an injunction for Alabama, and finally the ruling was, no, actually, you are on an NBA contract. Even if you never played an NBA game, he was on a two-way contract with the Spurs, and that was the line that they were able to draw. The NCAA was able to draw there and ruled Bediako ineligible. It's the same thing for RJ Lewis. He was on a two-way contract with the Jazz and the Celtics. Even if he never played an NBA game, he was on an NBA contract. And if Bediako couldn't play, RJ Lewis isn't going to be able to play either. But just Will Wade really needs players.
It's just ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous.
I get you need players, but come on. There's players in the transfer portal.
Nobody and nobody likes this. Like, no.
You're just creating a problem, literally, that is going to waste lawyers' money. Like, the lawyers are happy right now. All the lawyers right now, they're happy because, they're going to get those billable hours coming soon when there is a lawsuit filed.
The forever winner in the NCAA, the undefeated national champion every single year is billable hours. Next headline for me, we're going across the pond for Spygate soccer style. This is a wild story. Wow. So the English Football League, this is the second tier of soccer in England. The top tier being the Premier League. If we've got any Arsenal fans out there listening, congratulations on your team's confirmed Premier League championship today. Another win for Kroenke Sports and Entertainment. Every team they've owned has won a championship. And they're going to add another one to their trophy case, I hope, in about a month with another Stanley Cup. But anyway, the second tier of English soccer is the English Football League. And they have what's called promotion, where if you finish in the top 2 in the league, you get promoted to the Premier League. And then the bottom 3 in the Premier League get demoted. They get relegated. So you have promotion and relegation in the tiers of professional soccer in England. The top 2 finishers in the English Football League automatically earn promotion. For teams 3 through 6, there's a promotion playoff. 3 seed plays the 6, 4 seed plays the 5. The winners play each other. The payoff is enormous. They call it the richest game in world soccer because the winner gets the windfall of being promoted to the Premier League, get all that TV money and all that sponsorship money. It's a huge, huge deal to get to the Premier League. One of the playoff games was between Middlesbrough and Southampton. Southampton is has been a team that's bounced up and down between the Premier League and the second tier. Middlesbrough has also been in the top tier before, but it's been a while. Middlesbrough lost to Southampton in their playoff semifinal. But then Southampton was found to have spied on Middlesbrough's practices, and further charges were leveled at Southampton in relation to additional breaches for matches in December of this year and last year and April of this year. There's even a picture of a guy like standing behind a tree with some binoculars spying on Middlesbrough's practices. Like not even the least bit discreet. Middlesbrough was so upset about this breach of conduct that they requested that Southampton get kicked out of the playoff final. And that's what happened. They got kicked out of the playoffs. And Middlesbrough will instead play on Saturday against Hull City for a chance to be promoted to the Premier League.
Wow.
They kicked them out of the playoff, and they've also docked them 4 points in the standings for next year and levied a substantial fine. See, that's a real penalty.
Yeah.
Like, what the Patriots do, lose some draft picks? Middlesbrough got Southampton kicked out of the playoff entirely. So they thought their season was done. Now all of a sudden, they got a game in 4 days. And the stakes could not be higher. But yes, that's how they deal with Spygate situations over there in jolly old England. They're a little bit more serious about those kinds of breaches than I guess the NFL is. You can learn a little something, Raj.
Yeah, come on, Raj.
See how the FA handles their business. All right, let's do a playoff roundup before we wrap up the headlines today.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
We had the end of the semifinals and the beginning of the conference finals in the two winter/spring sports still ongoing last night. We'll start on Frozen Pond. The NHL's semifinals came to an end. Alex Newhook, Avalanche great, with an overtime winner, silencing the Buffalo crowd
goal,
and sending the Montreal Canadiens to the Eastern Conference Finals with a 3-2 win over the Sabres last night. Newhook also scored the game-winning goal in Game 7 of Montreal's first-round series against the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's the first player to score multiple game-winning Game 7 goals in a single playoff year since Nathan Horton did it for the Boston Bruins in 2011. So it's on to the Eastern Conference Finals for Montreal. They'll take on the Carolina Hurricanes. That series opens on Thursday in Raleigh. The Western Conference Final opens tomorrow night between the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights. So that is your Final Four: Colorado, Vegas, Carolina, Montreal. And one team left carrying the banner for the Great White North, still trying to bring a Stanley Cup back to Canada for the first time since the Canadians last won it all the way back in 1993. It's never happened in your life, Spencer.
I don't know. Canadians' national sport. Americans only win it.
Well,
American teams.
Yes, American teams. Lots of Canadians have won the Stanley Cup.
Yes, lots of them.
The vast majority of those names on that cup are, in fact, Canadian. But, the Canadian teams have been coming up empty since 1993, but the Canadians survive with the Game 7 win. NBA last night, they were calling it maybe the best NBA game of the decade, a 2-OT instant classic in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals between the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Spurs outlast the defending champs 122-115 behind a 41-point, 24-rebound performance from Victor Wembanyama.
Crazy game. So I was watching hockey. That game ended. turn the TV over, watch the final few minutes of regulation and into overtime for this game. Crazy game.
I tried, man. I can't watch the Thunder play basketball. I cannot watch the perversion of the sport that the Thunder call basketball. I can't.
Okay, because the Spurs won.
They did, yes. In the war for the soul of basketball, Ethical Hoops has a 1-game-to-none lead. That is critical. It is critical for the soul of basketball that the Spurs win this series. Something else you don't remember: 1994. The MVP. This was the first of the two. Well, not quite 2 full years, but this was the full Jordanless year in the NBA. Jordan had retired after 93. So 93, 94. David Robinson of the Spurs wins the MVP. And like David Robinson is one of the greatest players of all time. And he was a deserving MVP that year. But you know who didn't think so? Hakeem Olajuwon of the Houston Rockets. So the Western Conference Finals, David Robinson gets the MVP award during that series. And Hakeem Olajuwon says, all right, bet. And destroyed David Robinson one-on-one in that series. Just put him in a blender. And Houston won that series, and they won the title that year. Victor Wembanyama watched SGA, free throw merchant, raise the MVP. SGA raising the MVP in OKC, the only 3 words anybody in Paycom Center can spell. And Wemby watched that happen, watched that ceremony, and said, all right, bet. All right, you got the MVP? I'm the best player in the world. Watch this. 41-24 in your eye hole on the road against the defending champs. The Spurs have handed the Thunder now 5 of their 19 total losses in the regular season, the playoffs combined. That was obviously Oklahoma City's first playoff loss this year. Spurs also did it without one of their best players. First time all playoffs, the Thunder have been the healthier team because they had Jalen Williams back. The Jalen Williams that's kind of good, not the fake tough guy, tall Jalen Williams. All he does is want to draw charges like a chump. And the Spurs were without De'Aaron Fox, who might be after what Dylan Harper did last night, it's hard to say he's not their second best player, but Fox is one of their best players. Spurs didn't have him, didn't matter. Wemby was just that good, just that impossible. I just don't know what you do with him. So critical support to the Spurs and Ethical Hoops in that series. Great to see the Spurs take a 1-game-to-none lead. Game 1 of the consolation series, the Eastern Conference Finals, between Brendan and I were talking about this. Like, it's not often that you get to the point of like the conference finals in any sport and you say, well, that's like the real championship.
Yeah.
We had that in the NFL, right? Where everybody just said, yeah, whoever wins Rams Seahawks is going to roll in the Super Bowl. And that's what happened. The broad assumption in the NBA is whoever wins Spurs and Thunder is winning the title and probably not going to break a sweat in the process. I tend to agree with that take. I do not think Cleveland is a serious basketball concern, and I think the Knicks are going to have a pretty easy time with them. Game 1 of that series tonight at Madison Square Garden. You don't quite have that in the NHL because I think it's more like kind of waiting around, looking at our watch, like, all right, Colorado and Carolina. Let's just get to that series. Maybe that's me not wanting to put a reverse jinx on the Avs, who were like that much better than everybody else. Maybe that feel like a fait accompli. I'm not going to consider it one for the sake of not jinxing myself. But yeah, it's kind of strange that that's what we've had in the major sports so far this year. We've got the real NBA finals going in the Western Conference Finals, and Game 1 delivered the goods. That's your playoff roundup. We'll come back with a little random question Tuesday on 580 Sports Talk. Interesting take here from the text line from the 785 here on 580 Sports Talk. Says that the death of the TBT will be the transfer portal. There aren't any real alumni coming out of the college programs anymore.
I mean, for like mid-majors, I think that's true.
I do think that hurts, the mid-major team's ability to
put an alumni team out
put
there.
Teams forward. But I also think if you get guys who are fondly remembered, whether it's for trying to remember the name of the guy who did suit up for JHX hoops, and he only played 1 year at KU, but fondly remembered for the year he spent at KU. Was it Tarek Black? Might have been Tarek Black. But yeah, even if it's just 1 year, as long as it was a good year and you were a good dude and played hard, the fans liked you and embraced you, and they're happy to see you put that uniform on again, as long as you don't run out of those guys. But you do run the risk of running out of those guys. You really do. So I think there's something to that, and probably big picture, needing to downsize the tournament is probably the right move. And, more cash in the pile for the winners. You maybe convince more people to get out there and participate in it. Thanks for the text. Again, 785-272-9429 is the text line number. It's Random Question Tuesday today. Spencer, you never get to go first. You have a random question today?
Yeah, what is something that you are of late that you're, I don't know, I'll give you the last 10 years. Me, this is a very late thing, but you have kids, so we're at different points in our lives.
True enough.
That you're just let me just start collecting this. Now we're concert poster collectors now.
Okay.
And they're they're going to be hung up all over the place.
So something like a hobby that I've started maybe
Yes.
later in life?
Yes. Nothing you would have expected.
Okay.
When I buy a house eventually, it's going to be...
You're going to have a concert poster room?
It's going to be the sports memorabilia wall with the concert posters right next to it.
Okay. So a hobby that I've taken up late in life that I never would have expected. That's a good question. I don't know if it's late in life, but I was a resolute hater of the sport of soccer until about 2010.
Okay.
Resolutely hated the sport. Didn't want anything to do with it. Made fun of everybody who got into the World Cup in 2010. 2010? Yeah, 2010. Yeah, it was 2010. But also there wasn't nothing going on in North Platte, Nebraska in 2010. So I kind of got into I watched some of the matches, and I got into the video game. FIFA was kind of the gateway drug for me. And by 2011, I was picking out a favorite Premier League team and really got into it. But previous to that, I had your typical American or stereotypical American attitude towards soccer. This is not our sport. This is stupid. Y'all fake injuries. Y'all have bad haircuts. I don't care. We suck at it. I'm not going to invest myself in this stupid sport. And that was how I felt about it for a very, very long time. Influenced by my own experience as possibly the single worst youth soccer player in the state of Colorado in 1994. I don't know how anybody could have been worse at soccer than I was. I was not a bad athlete. I was a good baseball player. I played baseball for a long time. I was a fair to middling rec league basketball player. Soccer, I was miserable.
It's okay. I played 1 year soccer. I feel like that's the get into sport.
Yeah, you run around, you get your cardio, and your parents hope you get all your energy out.
So I've been told by my parents that soccer was never the sport for me because I would just run and fall. And the 1 year I played. Yeah.
No, so, I kept wanting to use my hands. It's natural for me to want to use my hands. So when I played goalie, that was fine. When I didn't play goalie, it was not fine. But I had a sour attitude towards soccer, and then I gave it a chance and I enjoy it. Now I get to watch it less. That would be one sport I kind of thought when I had kids, I'm gonna actually get to watch more of this. It's gonna be up earlier in the morning. That's when the Premier League matches are on. I don't get the remote. I don't get the remote till Asher goes to bed. I don't get the remote anymore. So I've actually watched Liverpool have had a terrible season in the Premier League, just a miserable, they should probably fire their manager type of season. The year following them winning the championship, but it hasn't hurt me because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So, but no, I did. I changed tack on soccer in a pretty major way about halfway through, I guess, half a lifetime ago. Just about.
See, that's why I meant like the way that I wanted to phrase the question. Because
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Here's my random question today, and I'm curious about audience participation on this one. 785-272-9429 in the comments on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk. What sports conspiracy theory do you believe is true?
Ooh.
Like, the logic part of your brain says, no, this isn't true, but you still kind of believe it was.
Ooh, that's a great question.
I'll give you the two that I firmly believe are true. I think that the NBA has rigged draft lotteries. I think that they absolutely rigged the first draft lottery so the Knicks could get Patrick Ewing. And I think that they have also had their hand in other draft lotteries, including the previous year where they gave Dallas number 1 pick and get Cooper Flagg to make up for the idiocy of the Luka Doncic trade. Like, I do think that the NBA has rigged draft lotteries. Not every year. Try to keep us off the scent. But I think that they have rigged draft lotteries before. I also believe that Super Bowl 40 was fixed. I believe that Super Bowl 40 between the Seahawks and the Steelers was fixed. I think that it was a Super Bowl nobody was really interested in nationally because that Steeler team wasn't that awesome, and broadly people don't care about the Seahawks. I do, but broadly people don't. And so the NFL cooked up a storyline about Jerome Bettis's last game, and it's his homecoming because he's from Detroit. That was all you heard for 2 weeks was, did you know Jerome Bettis is from Detroit? And they gave him a touchdown that he probably shouldn't have scored because they probably shouldn't have had the ball because I think they were short on a 4th down, and the refs gave a bad spot on that drive. And there were a bunch of other terrible calls that all went against Seattle in that game, and the Steelers won. So I think they rigged the game to pay off that storyline. That's maybe me being a little bitter, but no, I do believe Super Bowl 40 was fixed.
Yeah, I think it's just a general conspiracy. I think the NBA officiating is not necessarily, I wouldn't say rigged, but like some guys get it. Like it's
the star whistle conspiracy.
Yes, the star whistle is a thing.
No,
like LeBron should get called for way more fouls than he did in his career.
I think the star whistle is a thing. Tyler in the YouTube live chat said Michael Jordan never had the flu. Yeah, I think over the years we've come to understand that as the hungover game.
Yeah.
More so than the more so than the flu game. Maybe he went at it a little too hard the night before.
I also believe he retired because he had a gambling problem.
You believe that one?
Yes. That's one.
Like, that's a tempting one to believe, but at the same time, like, David Stern was not going to run his meal ticket out of basketball if he didn't have to.
Yeah.
I just don't think that element of it. Like, do I believe that Michael Jordan had like a serious gambling problem? Do I believe he maybe still does? Yes, I do believe that. I have no problem believing that part of it. But do I think David Stern would say, "Hey, man, you've got to take a 1.5-year vacation, and we got to get people to watch. We got to build our league's marketing around Hakeem Olajuwon"? I don't think he was really eager to do that. Okay, from the 785, that boxing is the most rigged sport and that the power outage in the Super Bowl between the Harbaugh brothers was intentional. That's a fascinating one.
That one is, yeah.
That's an interesting one. Boxing being rigged, yeah, there is widely held the belief that famous picture of Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston when he knocks him out in the first round of their rematch, and he's standing over him with his fist cocked and obviously like yelling something. It is widely believed that he was telling Liston to get up because he thought Liston had taken a dive. And Liston was in deep to some gamblers. Like, yeah, like I could almost buy that particular that theory. Anyhow, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Like to rig a game in favor of the Royals. They could really use it.
They could.
we'll talk a Royals Red Sox game 2 of their series coming up next on 580 Sports Talk. Text from the 785 on 580 Sports Talk. Come on, really? The NFL doesn't rig games. I didn't say the NFL rigged games. I said they rigged a game. Because I'm still salty about the Seahawks losing 20 years down the road. They got 2 Lombardis since then. I should really get over it. But no, I agree. The NFL doesn't rig games. Except one. Dan and Spencer with you on 580 Sports Talk. Coming down the home stretch, 549 here on 580 WIBW. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we got pregame coverage from the Royals Radio Network. Royals and the Red Sox, game 2 of 3 in the series between the AL basement dwellers. Well, not quite. I missed that Houston had a worse record than either Boston or Kansas City. Houston's 19-30 going into tonight. They lost to Minnesota last night. Game 2 between the Royals and the Red Sox, 6:40, first pitch. Ranger Suarez, Bailey Falter, the pitching matchup. Like I said earlier, Royals are going to have to ham and egg it tonight. This is a bullpen night. Nobody's really stretched out to replace Chris Bubich in the starting rotation. So Bailey Falter will go first. I imagine we'll see Luinder Avila for as many innings as he can handle. Eli Morgan probably third in line to add some bulk as a reliever. He's a little bit stretched out coming up from AAA Omaha. So I think those are the 3 names that are going to have to try and get this game to the 6th or the 7th and hopefully hand the back end of the Royals bullpen a lead. The Royals have to do some damage against the lefty. They've got a very different looking lineup against a left-handed pitcher tonight, in part because Jack Caglione's name is in it. Michael Garcia will lead off at third, then Bobby Witt Jr. at short. Salvador Perez moving up in the lineup. He's DHing tonight. He bats third. Lane Thomas, cleanup hitter against left-handed pitchers. Look, he's getting on base.
Yeah.
Bat him leadoff. He's slugging like 360 against left-handed pitching. Why is he in the cleanup? He doesn't swing the bat. Like, his whole thing is he gets on base. Great. Bat him leadoff so that he can get on base for somebody to drive in. Don't make him the drive-in runs guy if he doesn't swing the bat. Jack Caglione in the lineup against the lefty. Will wonders never cease. He's in right field. He's batting 5th. Starling Marte is in left field tonight, so it's Isaac Collins who gets the night off, and he could use one after his 0-for-4 hat trick last night. Starling Marte is in left, batting 6th. Vinny Pasquantino moves down to 7th in the order against the left-handed starter tonight. Nick Lofton will bat 8th at second base. Carter Jensen catching will bat 9th. The Red Sox go with Jaron Duran in left, Ceddanne Rafaela in center field. Here's a fun fact about Ceddanne Rafaela. He is not from the United States. He's born in Curacao. But as you may be aware, the Atlanta Braves used to have all their games on TV in the Superstation.
Yes.
So Ceddanne Rafaela's mother, Braves fan, which is why Ceddanne's middle name is Chipper.
Interesting.
As in Jones. Ceddanne Chipper Nicasio Marte Rafaela is his full name. Anyway, he's in center field batting 2nd. Wilyer Abreu bats 3rd and right. Wilson Contreras, who was a hero last night with his 2-run home run off of Seth Lugo. He's at first batting cleanup. Andrew Monasterio is the DH. Denny Matthews had a really fun riff on Monasterio's name last night. It was pretty funny. He said it sounded like a fancy wine. Hard to argue. Nick Sogard is the second baseman, switch hitter. He bats 6th. Omar Narvaez is the catcher. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at short bats 8th. Caleb Durbin at 3rd bats 9th. Royals need a dub. Royals need to find a way. Get one across the line. Get back even in this series. They got to have a winning homestand. They got to start clawing their way back toward 500. And you get too far past Memorial Day, this far under 500, that's when it starts to feel like it's getting late early. We'll take a timeout, come back, put a wrap on 580 Sports Talk after this. Time to wrap up 580 Sports Talk today with a final word. Spencer Dupuy, what you got?
Yeah, late night baseball on the plus tonight. Oh, and right here on 580 WIBW, Kansas State baseball in action in the opening round of the Big 12 championships at Surprise Stadium out there in Surprise. And, while I hate it on the 10 p.m. start time, it might just be the best start time in Arizona. I'm just saying they're going to take on a Utah team, one seed ahead of them. It's going to be a tough one tonight, but it'll be on the plus or listening right here on 580 WIW.
There is enough individual talent on that K-State roster that it would not shock me if they win a couple of games, make a little bit of a run. They are capable, I really believe, even as disappointing as this season has been for the Batcats. They're in a single elimination tournament. There's enough juice in the bats. There's enough hope maybe that you can outscore some of your problems on the mound that they've had all year. Maybe, just maybe, keep that season alive for just a little while.
Okay,
longer.
Looks like Utah also has a pitching problem because these teams scored a lot of runs in their series back in March.
Utah does play at altitude.
That's true.
That's definitely part of it. Final word for me today. All Rashee Rice had to do was just go play football. Just go play football. Just show up, make all your meetings. Don't violate your probation and get thrown in jail. Have a good year. Have a productive year. You're wide receiver number 1 for Patrick Mahomes. You're going to trip and fall into 90 catches. That's all he had to do. All he had to do. And a big payday awaited him. Probably not from the Chiefs, but from somebody. That's all he had to do. Wasn't smart enough to do that. Wasn't smart enough to leave the reefer alone for long enough to stay out of jail. And now he's going to miss OTAs. He's going to miss mandatory minicamp. And in a vacuum, is that like the most harmful thing in the world? No. But it's just further evidence that this is someone who is unreliable. This is someone who cannot be trusted. And the Chiefs are in an awkward position of knowing that and having to rely on and trust him anyway, because he's the best they got, and there's no real way to improve that position at this point in the offseason. We'll be back tomorrow from 3 until 6 for another round of 580 Sports Talk. Until then, for Spencer Dupuy, I'm Dan Lucero. Royals baseball is next. Good night.